Hi, welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable, where we discuss all topics real estate. I'm Nick Aarons.
Hey, and I'm Steve Crowley.
I'm Darren Shepard.
And I'm Jimmy Reed, and we're your hosts.
Today we got Amit here with Neo Home Loans and the Insight team, one of the top teams in the nation, fastest growing teams in the nation, and one of the top teams here in Orange County, California. Amit, thanks for stopping by, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, Darren, for having me. Looking forward to this.
So I say stopping by, even though we're not together today. We have some noise in the office, and we have this Mexican restaurant being, I guess, built and remodeled next door, so you can't hear ourselves talk. And then obviously you're 25 minutes away, so why not hang out at home and get this done?
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk about first-time home buyer programs out there. Obviously, with this crazy market and prices growing the way that they're growing, and the millennial generation trying to get into the market, and obviously you got to have a good income, and then you need this big down payment to be able to purchase a property. So just want to talk to you and your experience of what type of first-time home buyer programs are available. And then I've heard on the news and reading articles that there's also some additional first-time home buyer programs out there. So what are some of the pros and cons about those things?
Yeah, there's a lot of information that's available at your fingertips, but once you actually get into the weeds of things, there's a lot of crazy little nuances that can be a struggle for some first-time home buyers to use some of these programs that are available. So first and foremost, there's still so many people out there that still think that you need to buy a home with 20% down. And that's just really one of the biggest myths about, acquiring real estate in the market today. And so unfortunately, just people don't have access to the information or aren't being provided that information from people that, have all of that information readily available. And so that's been kind of one of our big pushes, is to really get the message out that there are so many various programs that are out there that allow you to buy a home with significantly less than 20% down. And really, people that are waiting to save up that 20% down are really missing out on a tremendous amount of opportunity in the market today. But to kind of outline, a few of the different programs that are available, right? There's standard conventional financing. There's standard FHA financing. Now, FHA financing, you can put down as little as 3.5%. That type of financing is generally going to be tailored to someone who may not have a extensive credit history that's available. Maybe their credit score is a little bit impacted because of some debts that they have, or maybe some past missed payments and whatnot, because that is government subsidized financing. And so that's going to be less tied to your credit score, more really tied to whether or not you can qualify. But they allow for, again, 3.5% down. So that's a really good program for someone who might have their credit be a little bit impaired. And then conventional financing is kind of the A-paper financing. So that financing, depending on what price range that you're looking at, can be as low as 3% or 5% as a down payment. And so that program is generally going to be tailored to people that have, basically above a 720 credit score. It's really going to be in their best interest to utilize that, because that's going to give them the best financing terms, both in the short term and the long term. And then there are what are called down payment assistance programs available. Actually, before I get to that, there's also the VA loan, which is, in my opinion, the absolute best loan available in the market. And that actually allows you to put 0% down and not have any type of private mortgage insurance as well. So that is definitely the best loan type, but obviously that is only available to our veterans. And then again, if we're going through down payment assistance programs, there's a multitude of different types of programs. One of the questions that we've been getting a lot lately is, how is this 10% forgivable loan program that we've been hearing all about in the news for all of 30 seconds? How is
I'm ready
that
for this one?
Yeah, so that's been a big question that a lot of people were posing. The news was flaunting it out in the media for like I said, all of 30 seconds, and then ultimately it just completely died. But that program was a little bit frustrating, right? So they basically issued a program that allowed you to get up to 10% of the purchase price of the home to be able to utilize towards your down payment amount.
Okay.
However, the caveat to that program is the only way to qualify for that program was if your income level was below 80% of the area median income in your county or in your city.
Okay.
The problem with that, especially in Southern California, is that the area median income for the majority of Southern California is set, or 80% of that area median income is set at $68,880 a year.
So how do you qualify? So how do you pay the mortgage?
Exactly. So when we kind of ran the calculations, to see, okay, what could someone effectively qualify for if their income was at the absolute top end of that 80%, right? And keep in mind, if most people aren't going to be right at that number, they're probably going to be either a little bit lower than that number or a little bit higher than that number, which is not going to allow them to qualify for that program. And you cannot utilize any cosigners or whatnot. But when we ran the numbers, if somebody had the income right below that threshold, that's if they had no other debts whatsoever, it's going to allow them to qualify for just over about a $2,500 a month mortgage payment. And so the problem with that is, that equates, if someone is putting 10% down on a home, that equates to about a $350,000 for a purchase price for a single family home and about a $300,000 purchase price for a condo or a townhome, assuming some HOA dues there.
Yeah, that's challenging.
It's super challenging, right? One, because, it's just hard to find people that can qualify to buy a home within that income limit. And two, it's just impossible right now to find a home in that price range that's going to suit the needs for that person as well. And so it's just been very difficult for anybody to really utilize that program. That's why they really didn't talk too much about it after we actually got into the nuances of that program. Any questions about that before I kind of move on to something?
Yeah, it's very interesting that, obviously I know you don't know, but the thinking behind the program is, how did they not know this was not gonna be challenging to do before they come out with this program, right? Like, how is this a benefit to first-time home buyers with the income challenges? And that's what you just said, going to no debts and going to the absolute max of their take-home pay. I mean, if you're making $68,000, and this is pre-tax or after tax?
Pre-tax income.
Pre-tax.
Yeah.
So I mean, what are you, 50-60% of your take-home pay at that point, even if you went to the max?
Probably closer to 70% for that that rate of pay, but still, right? It just didn't make sense. I don't know why California didn't go through that a little bit more intentionally to actually figure out if this truly was going to help people. Given all the appreciation the market has seen over the course of the last 2 years, it's just impossible to find homes in those price ranges. And you have to fit a very narrow bucket of, qualification thresholds to be able to utilize that. So, there's a lot of things we could say about the way that California has been run, but ultimately, it just wasn't a product that was actually beneficial to the general public.
So break down for me, what percentage would you say of first-time home buyers are going conventional and versus going FHA? Like, is it pretty even? Is it way more FHA buyers? What's your experience?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more people utilizing conventional financing rather than FHA financing. I don't know the statistics of how many people are using conventional versus FHA, but I would say in our industry and what we see in terms of our clientele and whatnot, I would say it's probably closer to like 85% conventional financing, and then 15% other types of financing. So whether that's FHA or VA or non-QM type loans, it's definitely, the bulk of the loans across America are definitely conventional financed.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about your guys' team is you actually will sit down and either jump on a Zoom with someone and go over why they shouldn't do a certain thing or they should do a certain thing before starting that process. So meaning, hey, if I only have 3% down, you might coach me and say, hey, Darren, you should probably take care of these things on your credit and or save a little bit more money. And you should go this direction based off what your goals are, right? So I love that about you guys' team as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's honestly, in this current environment that we're in, the only way to really improve the well-being the communities that we serve as a whole is really to provide them as much information as possible, right? So they can make ultimately the most educated decision as to what type of financing options that they want to utilize, whether or not it makes sense for them to buy, sell, or finance real estate where they're at in their life right now. And so that's kind of our big push, is to really spread financial literacy throughout the communities of America that we serve. And the way that we go about that, like you said, is we actually go through a formal consultation with every single one of our clients, right? The majority of lenders, unfortunately, out there are really just order takers. They basically just, whatever the client says that they want to do, they just says, yes, you can do that. But they don't really tell them, more about what they can do, but more about really what they should do. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really what the most important thing is. And the way that we go about that is just by education. Right. And so we walk them through, all the available financing options that they have. If they do have some slightly impaired credit, we'll go through a full credit analysis with them, see if there's an opportunity for them to improve their credit before they actually go into escrow on a home. So that way they can actually improve their financing scenarios.
Yeah.
And then we kind of show them what all of their options are with regards to lower down payment options. And that's where, sometimes down payment assistance options, apart from the 10% forgivable loan that wasn't really helpful for anyone, that's where those can sometimes play a big factor. So there's quite a few down payment assistance programs that are available today. The most primary one that's utilized is subsidized by Cal HFA, the California Housing Finance Authority.
Okay.
And
What's
so
that?
so there's some awesome programs that they have, and they have significantly higher income limits that you can utilize for those programs. In Orange County, I believe the income limit is just over 200,000. It's about 211,000.
Oh, wow. Seems pretty high.
Yeah, so it's really high there. And so that gives a lot more people flexibility to utilize that program. And so that program allows you to get technically all the way up to, about 3% from a zero interest second loan that you can use towards your closing costs. And then you can get an additional up to $10,000 with the My Home Assistance program that gets tacked onto there to go towards your down payment and closing costs as well. And so that program has been really great for a lot of people. Just because it allows them to effectively come out of pocket with maybe 1 or 2%, depending on how they structure the loan, of the actual purchase price in total amount of cash to close needed. So someone's looking at buying a $500,000 home, they could theoretically get into that home with no more than $10,000 out of pocket. And if they're able to get things like seller credits and whatnot, they could theoretically come out of pocket, any amount of seller credits less than that $10,000.
Yeah, that's crazy. So if I'm a first time home buyer, I'm a millennial, I'm renting, or I live with my parents, and I'm looking to purchase a home. I want to purchase a home. Should I save my 10% down or 5% down and then give you a call and fill out the application? What should I do to help myself get in a position to purchase a home? What is that process like? What do you recommend to your average first-time home buyer, just married, just out of college, to start that process with you guys? And then, what does that look like?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing for people to get is really information, right? Because information can help guide their plan. It can guide their, how they strategize, how to save that money. And it also gives them a goal and a target timeline to work towards, right? If somebody's fresh out of college or just got married, they don't have, anything really saved up as of yet, I think that's a perfect time to have an actual meeting with someone who's going to be able to guide you as to what is going to actually be required of you to be able to purchase a home. That way, okay, what your financing options are, what your low down payment or down payment assistance financing options are, what your low down payment or 3 or 3.5 or 5% down options look like. That way you have a target to set for yourself. And then you can basically figure out with that person also, okay, how much do I need to be saving every single month? Do I need to look at alternative employment opportunities? I need to look at creating maybe some side hustles to generate more revenue for myself to be able to save that money up a little bit more quickly. But without having, an actual plan in place or having kind of a target, to work towards, you're just kind of, shooting fish in a barrel, right? You're not really, you don't have a strategic plan that's been set out, goals and timelines that have been set out for yourself. And so it's really not, it's not going to be conducive to helping you achieve those goals if you haven't gotten all the information necessary to be able to make that plan.
Got it. And so reach out to you guys, getting that information, and then during that initial conversation, are you based off of my trajectory of my income, or based off my career, or based off of how much money I have, or if I have friends or family that could co-sign or give me a gift, and then at that point you're making recommendations on what I should do and how you guys can structure the loan at that point when we're having that conversation.
Absolutely. And, if someone's, young and they have, potential opportunities for family assistance, if they might be able to provide some gift funds, that can play a key role in, speeding up that process. Right. And so those are, all of the questions that we have with those clients up front is, hey, is there opportunities for you to maybe get some gift funds from your parents that might be able to allow you to put that money down a little bit sooner? And if that's the case, then, that can open up a lot more doors for them. If they can't, or if that is not an opportunity, then at least we can show them, hey, this is what you would ultimately need to save up. Then they can create kind of a budget and a timeline in place, so that way they know, okay, every month we can put $500, $1,000 towards our down payment amount that we need, and they have just more of a targeted amount that they will ultimately need to be able to make that happen for them.
Got it. Nice. And are there like area restrictions? I know in Orange County there's like loan limits, in LA County, and are there like loan limits and restrictions for some of these other first-time home buyers that you were mentioning earlier, or is it just primarily income restrictions?
So there definitely are some various loan limits that you'd have to take into consideration when you're utilizing down payment assistance financing, or even conventional or standard FHA financing as well. Now, across the nation, the conventional and FHA loan limits can differ a little bit. Conventional financing across the nation, there's a base loan amount of $647,200 that across the board, you'll be able to utilize conventional financing. FHA financing, depending on the county and area that you're looking in, can be a little bit less than that. And then depending on if you're looking in Southern California, for example, there's a lot of what are called high cost counties out here. And so depending on what area, for example, Orange County, because Orange County is considered a high cost county, they actually extend the conventional and FHA loan limits all the way up to $970,800. So if you're, looking at putting, a low down payment down, you can technically buy up to a $1 million property in Orange County with a very low down payment and utilizing these down payment assistance programs. Now, the interest rates on these programs will vary depending on how much down payment assistance you're looking to obtain. But ultimately, they do allow you to get into the home, assuming you can qualify for the mortgage payment and assuming your income level is below the income limit threshold.
Got it. And that was one of my big things is I know with our team selling a lot of properties, you guys helping so many different families, it's the when I'm speaking with clients and they're discussing and talking about the stability of the market, and they go through the buying process, and I'm like, so tell me, did you see everything you needed to do and everything you need to go through to actually purchase a home? And that's why the market is so stable. It's like you have to do everything but give blood, right, to get a loan nowadays. So my question is, you might not know this, but how's the government or whoever is backing these loans, if it's a down payment assistance program and there's not a lot of skin in the game, is there a lot of skin in the game for the buyer? Is that good for the market to have these type of programs? Just a question that I have out there. You might not know the answer to it, but I'm just questioning.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I definitely think these programs are a necessity, especially for, because there's not a lot of people that have the ability to save 5, 10, 15, 20% down, right? And that's just not something that's going to be within their realm to be able to get to. But these programs allow those people to ultimately get into a home, be able to build equity that's going to help them for retirement planning, that's going to help them for generational wealth planning, having assets in retirement age to be able to draw from. Unfortunately, 83% of Americans have the majority of their net worth tied up in the equity of their home. And so a lot of people are going to be having to draw upon that when they do reach retirement age to ultimately continue to live their life and still, not have to continue working until they, drop dead, unfortunately. And so I definitely think these programs are super beneficial in terms of the skin in the game that the consumer has. They're not going to have a ton of equity right out the gates, but as the market continues to trend in the direction that we expect it to, they're going to be able to build that equity, and they maybe did not have that opportunity to do so if this program didn't exist. So I definitely think for the overall economy, for the overall longevity and well-being of the average consumer, this program is definitely a necessity, and it solves a lot of those problems for those people. And as they continue to build more equity, they can get themselves into better loan scenarios because they'll have more equity in the home, be able to lower their interest rates as the market ebbs and flows, get themselves into a better cash flow position long term. And so
you don't have to keep that. You don't have to keep that mortgage for the length of the time that you're in that home. So if I'm there for 10 years, do I have to keep that specific program, or can I refinance out of it?
Nope, absolutely. You can definitely refinance it. That's one of the benefits of the standard, Cal HFA down payment assistance programs. The forgivable loan that unfortunately just doesn't solve any issues for anybody. That program basically is forgivable if you keep that loan for at least 5 years and you remain in that home for at least 5 years as a primary residence of yours.
Got it. So you can. So that's really big, because the way that the market's growing, I mean, you could probably hold on to this home for 2-3 years at max and then refinance out of it because of the equity growth that you're obtaining.
Absolutely. Yeah. With where the market is expected to trend over the course of the next few years, and the fact that there's still going to be limited inventory, they're going to be seeing a lot of opportunities to be able to get out of those loans, get themselves into better positions as interest rates start to come back down, which is what we're anticipating happening probably within the next 12 to 24 months. It's going to put them in really good positions to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah. You talk about leveraging and savings. I think is one of the big things that I got out of it is, hey, even if I buy a $500,000 home and, I'm saving $20,000-$30,000 a year, and this property grows 8 or 10%, it's 8 or 10% on the $500,000 home. So you can understand how it's hard for your average family to keep up the pace with the appreciation of the home, and it almost feels like you're on a treadmill that's never going to stop. You can't keep up with it because
Absolutely.
It's compounding off of that top number. So now it's starting to come a little bit more clear for me.
Yeah, the power of leverage is definitely something that, when you see real estate appreciate, 5, 8, 10%, right? That's appreciation on the asset that you purchase, not the amount of money that you actually applied to that purchase, right? And so that is exponentially higher when you look at it as as an amount based on the actual amount that you invested yourself into the home.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So where can people find you guys? Like what's the easiest way for them to get connected with your team?
Yeah. So, there's so many different ways to reach out to us. You can reach out to us online. We have a strong online social media presence. I do a lot of marketing videos for people to just learn more about, the various programs that are offered, learn more about just what it takes to ultimately buy a home, what the market is doing, what the recession coming up is going to look like for a lot of people. But if they want to ever schedule a call with me directly, they can just go directly to www.callamit.com. They can visit our website, neohomeloans.com. They can visit our team's website, which is our team is the Insight team. Our website is ithomeloans.com. And they can always schedule a call directly on our website with our team, one of our team members as well.
Nice. And we'll go ahead and drop all that information in the show notes so people can take a look at it and get connected with your team. And I'm actually going to say my team and I'm going to talk to them about doing a part 2 on this and digging a little bit deeper on after you get pre-approved, after you go through that consultation, what does that process look like to clear up any guesses and, possibly the concerns or scarcity behind getting approved and speaking with someone and working your way down that funnel, even if you're not quite ready. So we'll do a part 2 on that. But Amit, I thank you so much for hanging out at home, me at home, and knocking this out together, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great seeing you, Darren.
All right. Good seeing you too.
Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Real Estate Roundtable. If you'd like to connect with any of the sales partners here on the REIT team, our information is below and we'd love to chat with you.